So here we are in London. Busy, fun, vibey. Probably a red bus over there, black cab if you've never seen any. No, I'm joking. How does it feel to be back, man?
Well, I mean, for me, it's like a sort of homecoming. I'm lucky enough to be brought up not far from here. And then when we were on the clergy team at HGB 13 years ago, I remember I used to run up, literally up here, around the park. And I see that because this morning I went for a little jog, about half the distance, about half the pace what I used to do. But yeah, no, we love. Well, I just find it epic.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. It's sort of buzzy, and I'm a townie, so the bigger the better.
Obviously, I feel like London is the centre of the universe. But was the decision to come back hard or tough in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a Brighton girl, so I've left my birth home, and you know, it was a really difficult decision to make, but we felt it was the right decision. We felt called here back to London, and you know, you can't help but just feel a lot of joy when you're in the city, and we're really excited to be here. We know that we're gonna really come alive and see this place come alive. So yeah, we're up for it, aren't we? We're really excited.
I think the calling's the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
and being obedient to that. Like when you're in obedience to what God's asked you to do, there's no better place. So
and we'll look after you guys. We'll look after you guys.
We know you will.
What are you looking forward to doing now you're back in London?
So
I know
much.
you've probably got your eye on a Chelsea game.
Yeah. Well, I've tried to pretend for 13 years that I can support Brighton and Hove Albion, but
we do support
really,
Brighton and Hove Albion.
But really, Chelsea is my first team, so it's a joy to be back there. So that, and I think just connecting again. When we were here before, we had little children, and it was fun in a different way. But now being able to sort of go to exhibitions, theatre, different things like that.
Out for nice meals, you know, just explore a bit. Like London's such a fun place, isn't it? So many shops.
There's a lot of shops.
There's a lot of shops.
So my son Ezra is 3. Very cute guy.
So cute.
When you left London, your kids, some of them might have been around a similar age, Archie?
Oh, now you're asking.
Yes.
We had 3. 3?
We had Theo was 1.5.
Okay.
Charlie was 7, and then a couple in between.
Okay.
So yeah, that's sort of ages.
Do you know how many kids you have?
just the 4.
Just the 4.
Amazing. What does family life look like now?
Yeah, Isaac, we've got a couple of staying back in Brighton. So our eldest is working and settled and moved out of home. We've got one of them is finishing his A-levels down there. So he's staying with grandparents. Our daughter Jeannie, she's going off to university. So she's heading off to Nottingham. And then we've got Theo, our youngest, he's going to be with us. So it's different. But they're all excited about London, and they're all excited to be part of this journey, actually. Really excited, really positive, really up for it. So
they gave you their blessing.
Gave us their blessing wholeheartedly, absolutely.
Feel like they're part of it, actually.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
So we're at Brompton Road, one of our locations. Is this where you're going to be based on a Sunday?
Well, we will be here, but I know HGB is one church, 6 different locations, so we'll be everywhere we can get, really.
Amazing. Well, let's go and check out one of our locations. So here we are on Delgano Estate, where we have one of our churches. It was part of the HDB family. I don't think it was here about 13 years ago when you left to go to Brighton to do all the cool stuff that you've done. A lot's changed. When you look back over your time in Brighton, what kind of things have you seen God do?
Well, it's been amazing what God's done, because we went from HTB to this iconic, it's known as the unofficial cathedral in Brighton, but it was closing. I think we went with a handful of people, and out of that, over the last few years, it's just far more than you can imagine, or I can imagine. So planting within our own city, sort of estates and communities, but also beyond Hastings and Portsmouth and Crawley and Bognor, and it's all just sort of like happened. And then just seeing Alpha in each of these places and people coming to faith, and what you realise is that not one church is going to hit them all, because people are so diverse and there's so much variety, and just seeing different people coming to faith in all these different places has been amazing.
Sam, when you look back, can you think of any stories that not only remind you of what God has done, but also remind you of what he's still doing in Brighton and wants to do in London?
Yeah, I think, it was a privilege going to a place where you just immediately knew that God was wanting you to reach out in the city, not just kind of contain yourself within a building, which needed a lot of work doing to it, but also you saw the need in the city. And within our first week of being in the city, we had a young girl, Mel, who was found dead of an overdose, actually right on the church steps. And for me, that was a moment of, like, not on our watch will the church be shut to young, vulnerable people that need to know that they're not on their own with their struggles, that need to know the love of Jesus. And that really set off us on a path where we wanted to reach out to those that are on the margins of society, and that set off Safe Haven. And in fact, there was, as we were sort of on our journey back here, there was another girl, Samantha, her name. She frequented our drop-ins regularly, and she was also found in a compromised. She was found. We don't know the circumstances of her death, but and at that point, I was like, oh, Lord, have we not got anywhere? But I felt the Lord saying to me, actually, Sam, there's always going to be the need. This is almost like a recommissioning. You just need to know that my love is still needed, and you still need to keep going out there. And I felt that for not just for Brighton, but for this city, and for all of the churches that are kind of being planted out. They need to know that there are the Mels, the Samanthas, the others that need desperately to know the love of Jesus into those dark places. So, yeah, it goes very deep for me.
Yeah. And you've obviously been very busy and done some important work. Have you had a chance to let your hair down? Do you have many interests? I've got to say, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you're a bit of a style icon. I'm looking at, I don't know if I can get her shoes in the shot. But, I was actually looking at Sam, Archie, yeah.
Because you spoke to me, but you looked at her.
But yeah, what kind of hobbies and interests, what kind of stuff do you do in your downtime?
We love people and family and friends, and love exercise, I do, and holidays and reading and lots of different things.
I do love fashion. I do love hanging out with people, things like that. I think one of the good things about being back in London is it's very diverse, it's very creative, and already been to exhibitions, so just having that right on the doorstep is really exciting. So yeah, just soaking it all up, all of that stuff.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, shall we pop to Westfield to get Archie some matching shoes?
Well, come on. We're kind of colour coordinated, actually. That wasn't even planned.
You're looking very good.
Come
on. Go. Posh and Becks of the Anglican world. So in terms of big vision, next 10 to 15 years, apart from seeing less Chelsea supporters at our church, what else would you love to see?
Well, for me, I think about London. I'm kind of fascinated and I think consumed by this. I was brought up in this city, so how does a church or a group, obviously we're not the only show in town, how do a group of churches meet a city? And that's the thing for me, actually. Funny enough, running a church is not such a passion. It's reaching a city that I'm fascinated by. So I think anything, and Jesus will do that through his church. I mean, he's his body. So how do we do that, I think, is a bit that's exciting me.
While it sounds incredible, it does feel like a big job. Are you going to try and have fun while you're doing it?
Yeah, come on, Isaac. I mean, it has to be. I've always said, unless it's fun, I'm not playing. So I think, the main thing as well is to kind of create a sense of family and a place where people can just be themselves, kick their shoes off, be a bit chilled as well, make a few mistakes. And, we want to have a laugh, we want to play some games, we want to mess it up a bit, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, mess it up a bit, but I feel like we just want to, we want to be real. We want to have some good times as well, have some parties.
But funnily enough,
relate to
you
people.
almost need a big enough vision that you know you can't just do it by hard work. You need to have one that we might as well just take a whack at this and have fun while we're doing it. And it's Jesus' church anyway. So yeah.
Speaking of games and taking a whack of it, pass it, mate. There you go, man. All yours.
Oh yeah. All right.
Oh, so close.